So I'm here in the gallery at Sulfur Studios with Revival, which is our current exhibition, curated by Antonia B. Larkin and featuring 14 artists from around the country. Revival is a multifaceted exhibition on display here at Sulfur through March 28th. In conjunction with the exhibition, we're also hosting 2 site-specific installations filling multiple areas of Sulfur, featuring work by Trisha Hersey of Atlanta's Nat Ministry, as well as by curator Antonia. So if you're in town, come by and make sure to check those out. You can also check out the work on our website. It's available there and for sale through March 28th. Today we have a very special guest, Christine Sajecki, who has 2 pieces featured here in the exhibition. Christine lived in Savannah for 12 years, and she got her painting degree at SCAD and worked for many years at Atwell's Art and Frame and served on the board of the Flannery O'Connor Childhood Home, co-founding the annual Flannery Birthday Parade with her friend Andrew Hartzell. She's been painting primarily in encaustic for about 15 years, and she currently lives and paints in Baltimore. Her full bio can be found on her website, which is christinesajecki.com. So Christine, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, hosting my pieces.
Yeah, they're really such a lovely part of this exhibition, especially together in relationship to the work that's here. Would you like to maybe start by sharing a bit about these particular works? That started?
Sure. Since you're on that one, Everybody, the Crowd is Home. That one's called. That one started years ago, actually, as a about the Grapes of Wrath. After Trump was elected, I had a really strong urge to read The Wrath with friends, and then I did a bunch of work in response to that, and that one was at least resolved, and it came back to me. And I had this practice for a little while of just giving myself 2 days with old paintings to just like attack them with what my ideas. So my first idea with that one, it was a bunch of like white shadowy figures that was based on a scene from The Grapes of Wrath. And I started just adding really colorful people coming in from the side. But this was before the lockdown. So my plan was just 2 days and then let it be. But since I was sort of stuck in my studio with it for a year, I kept working on it. And kind of every phase of like that initial kind of fear and tenderness and unknowing, where we were all just like staying home and not knowing that was in there, and then kind of a hopeful reemergence, and then just always thinking about like how many people I didn't know that were out in the world, and I'm kind of feeling concerned for everyone's safety and sad that I didn't know who these people were, as like the numbers and cases were climbing. So there was a lot of worry in this piece, but also a lot of care. And just recently, during the inauguration, if you want to skip a couple months, is when all the really bright little colorful dots started coming in, which kind of represented the children and what's next. And it also made the painting make a lot more sense, like kind of laid the space out more. And I realized I had drawn a lot of people that were looking down, and so it made more sense that what they were looking down at was the next generation and what comes next. So yeah, this piece, it was also a struggle with myself, in that I never, kind of things I consider weaknesses in my painting, like inconsistencies. I never decided on like one basic language for all the figures. So they're all in different kind of languages and different moods I was drawing them in, which I felt was appropriate for just all the different languages and all the unknowns in the world I was dealing with in this painting.
Right. Yeah, that seems like it's like a liberating thing to be able to explore different ways of representing the figure, and you have so much like what you've just traced of this narrative that's built into the work and how it sort of evolved from, I think that's an interesting exercise too, to start from an old piece and respond to it in a new way. And then it ended up evolving in so many layers, like physical layers and narrative layers. So branching off of that, do you maybe want to talk about the process of encaustic itself and what drew you to it initially?
Sure. Yeah. Like marks that you see are actually carved to the surface and then filled back in with different colors. Um, so the whole surface I cover with wax, sometimes just medium and sometimes different colors. And then the black marks you can see there, those are China marker. You can kind of tell the difference between those marks. But for the colorful marks, I use tools like this and this and this to carve out the lines and fill them back in. And then scrape it down with, I go through so many blades. Also process. I can take you over here and show you my palette.
That would be great. Yeah, I'm so glad you're in your studio. It's nice to see the
Yeah.
tools and the process at the same time.
So my palette is a pancake griddle, and this is the paint. So it's molten wax with pigment in it, and I take the brushes out. This paint actually has like soil mixed in with it, red clay soil.
Oh, wow.
And this here is just the medium without any pigment in it, which I use a lot to get that sense of depth and layer in it. And it's just so golden and wonderful to work with. So yeah, so it's applied with brushes and then yeah, manipulated and torched and scraped and yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
like a sensory process because there's like the heat involved and the beeswax has kind of a smell, right? So it's
yeah,
yeah.
it really engages all of the senses. Like I'm getting old, and by the end of the night, my eyes get really tired. So I use my hands a lot just to feel the like the surface, what needs to be scraped. Like you can tell a lot just by feeling a painting, and even like hearing the noise of scraping, you can tell what kind of mark you're making with different textures. It's very sensory on all levels.
Maybe we can move over to this piece, which is called With Nothing But Flowers.
Yeah, that one is a bit lighter and a bit more less complicated, more hopeful. Like that one was also an old piece that came back to me just shortly before lockdown started, and my first idea that I just went to attack it with was just pile of cars. So I just started carving in the lines that would be those car shapes that are there, and I think the fact that they were like crashed up cars, but I was drawing them so slowly, just really, it made me feel like the narrative was like people had just abandoned their cars, like maybe just pushed them down hills with their feet and just kind of walked away. Like it wasn't a violent crash or anything, but just like a gentle abandonment. And as I was painting it, the song by Talking Heads, Nothing But Flowers, came on. Do you know that song?
I do not. I know the Talking Heads though.
It's it's a great song, but like it's the end of the world, but it's a very like lighthearted, um, hopeful. Like you wouldn't if you were just listening to it and not listening to the words, you'd just be like grooving and dancing and not realizing it's about the end of the world. But because it's got such a happy vibe to it, but that kind of really influenced like the whole time I was working on it. I ended up working on it a lot longer and adding figures as people started reemerging into the world. But yeah, that kind of like hopeful just abandoning what we don't want anymore and just moving on. Like there's a guy on that side who's just like walking and reading, and a little over, he's kind of like on the edge. Yeah, he's
There he
just
is.
yeah, everyone's just kind of like moving on. But yeah, I started that painting before the pandemic, thinking about just like abandoning cars, and then I was so moved when that really happened. Like people just voluntarily just um, stop driving, stop going places, staying home, just out of care for each other, and that was a really beautiful moment, I thought.
Yeah, I think that's such an interesting approach to this idea of rest and revival. Is this like the abandonment of certain things in the interest of care?
Yeah.
Do you maybe want to expand on, what called you to submit this work for the exhibition and what rest and revival in general mean to you?
Yeah. When I got the call for the call for entries, it was like I just knew in my heart that I would send these paintings right then. I've been really picky about them. Like someone even offered to buy the square one, the crowd, and I wouldn't let him. I stopped responding to his emails. Like just select out where they want to go, because as I've been home and just like working so hard on this and caring so much about people, I want these paintings to also go out in the world and do work um, towards that kind of caring. And it made me so happy yesterday to hear Antonia say how they affected her, that they gave her like a moment's peace. And just for someone that works so hard and is making such a positive difference, that she could have a moment of peace. I feel like that's the work I want them to do.
Yeah, I think so much of the work in this exhibition is deeply personal because it's a big moment for that. You had so much time to step back and reflect. But I think, yeah, too, it's important for it to all come together and these works are activating each other.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I think we're coming close to the end of our time, but are there any other upcoming plans you want to share or quick plugs you'd like to make?
Um, no, I don't have events scheduled or anything, but yeah, just if you're interested in my work, just keep up with my website and social media, and I'll see you there.
Perfect. Well, it's been wonderful to speak with you today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for hosting this beautiful show. It's really a pleasure to see the other work in the show too, and in situ. I looked at it on the website, but especially the one, the text piece there. I really love that, how that looks as an object.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to be a part of it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Sulfur. Thank you, Sam. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of Sulfur Artist Talks. Sulfur Studios is a project of Arts Southeast, a nonprofit whose mission is to make Savannah a destination for art and culture in the Southeast by supporting established and emerging artists, engaging a diverse community with creative programming, and developing awareness and appreciation of the arts. This content is made possible by viewers like you. If you'd like to support our mission, please visit us at www.sulfurstudios.org to learn more. You can also reach out to us via email at info@sulfurstudios.org. On behalf of Sulfur Studios, I wish you well and hope to see you next time. Thank you.